Hello and good morning. Happy New Year to everyone that is watching. This is my first video of 2026. So, this is an episode of Weekly Outlook on US 100 and 500 in the usual format that I do it. So, welcome. I'm looking forward to having a very good year in 2026, and I hope you will gain something from me throughout the year. And all the best. So, let's get into it. US 100 and US 500, that is NASDAQ and SP500. So this is one of those weeks where the two assets have aligned just the way I like them, and I will be trading them throughout the week looking for longs. So my bias is bullish. I'm very bullish on I'm bullish on the two assets, and the technical analysis. Uh, that is where we should start before, and then maybe we'll go through the economic calendar together later after I've finished the technical part. So basically, what uh, I had mentioned in my group at around December that I want to see price rally higher on the SP500 and US 100, but I haven't gotten that opportunity yet. So the last opportunity we had was here when we had this bullish change in state of delivery right here on a weekly level, and I don't think I was able to trade this this trade. So that is the last time we really had something. The two of the assets in line with each other on a technical analysis level, on a weekly level, and that is what I like to see before I proceed to the daily time frames and the 4-hour time frames. I want to see the weekly chart uh, in line with each other because they are correlated assets, and that is what I really trade. So on the weekly, what we have this week is the same thing. We had this retracement week on uh, the last week of 2025 and the beginning of 2026. So we had that, and price came and refilled this new week opening up right there, and it completely filled it. And for a moment, I thought we were going to have a bearish setups, but since it wasn't the same thing on this asset, because it also had an NOG, that is a new week opening up, but price kept showing me the bullish signals. So this is one of the reasons I am very bullish, because I took this as a retracement, because you will notice that on US 500 price came down to that NOG, it retested the NOG and completely filled it without the body closing inside it, and then you can see that we never got that change in state of delivery, and that is mostly the reason I never traded, because you can see that price did not close below the open of the previous week candle. But on US 100, you will notice that we had that weekly change, bearish change in state of delivery of some sort. So if I wasn't trading them as correlated assets, I would have ended up trying to sell on now last week, and you can see that we had a bullish week, which would have not been ideal, because I really try to be in the direction of the higher time frames, which is the daily and the weekly time frames. So I want to get the bulk, a huge bulk of the weekly expansion. So that is why I really love to start from the weekly chart, and I want to see the two assets showing me the same thing on a weekly chart. So this is why I wasn't trading last week. I felt like I needed to inform you that, because I mentioned in my group that I would be posting the weekly review, and I never did. But this was why. On one asset we had very bearish signs, and then on the other we had bullish signs, and that is what I wanted to see, the bullish signs. So I will leave this here, the NOG that was filled, and then now we can get into today's analysis. So after this retracement week, which I've said that it was the last week of December and the first week of 2026, you can see that price has now traded against it, and it has closed above its open. So that becomes a weekly change in state of delivery. So we will label that as a weekly change in state of delivery right there. Weekly CISD. So I assume that everyone who is watching this video knows what a weekly change in state of delivery is. Not a weekly, basically what a change in state of delivery. It means that the price has now changed from a bullish program, bearish to a bullish, and bullish to bearish, and accordingly. So that is a weekly change in state of delivery right there, and you can see that both assets have it, US 100 and SP500. So now that becomes an ideal scenario for me to start looking for long setups, because already on the higher time frame we have that uh, bias confirmed on a higher time frame. So it becomes a higher probability trade. So that is all I need to know on the weekly chart. So I can now go to the daily time frame to do more analysis and look for more levels that could be reached into this week. So let me just delete. Maybe I shouldn't. Okay. Let me just leave it there. So that was an NOG. Let's label it as an NOG so that I don't confuse you. Go back to that side. This was an NOG, very beautiful NOG, and US 500 has been delivering very efficiently. You can see that nobody's coming even inside the NOG, but on the other hand, US 100 really dipped into it and really rebalanced that price range. So now let's go to the daily time frame. So we had all right. So you can see how price was still respecting the NOG on US 500. Notice how there was no candle that closed below the 50% of that NOG. So it was supporting price to the upside. All right. So you might be asking yourself why price went this low on US 500. So we had this daily fair value gap, and you can see that as much as we closed below the 50%, the body still remained inside that daily fair value gap. So that was a daily FVG, and price remained inside it. And as soon as we rebalanced that part and retested this daily order block, so this is a daily order block, the last down close candle before a rally to the upside. So you can see that price retested that order block, and then we went higher. And even to make it more interesting, it remained on the upper part of that week, so the order blocks week. So that was just by the way, but you can see that as soon as we finished that, we had this daily changes state of delivery right here. So this was still in that week where we had that bullish week, which I wasn't sure of trading. So We had that, and we had the same thing on US US 500, although it came in later. So you can see the characteristics of a week where we didn't have a confirmed weekly bias. You can see that they usually have different, they move different. So you can see that on Monday we never got that bullish change in state of delivery, but on this other asset we really got that change in state of delivery on Monday. And then this one came in later on Tuesday, and the move has already unfolded. So that is why I like to avoid a week where that bias hasn't been confirmed on the weekly chart before I even go to the lower time frames, because in most cases you will have such characteristics where price won't be confirming what you really want to see as you trade higher. Okay, so let's mark this out. You can see that we have a gap between Friday and Monday. So this is last week's NOG. That's a new week opening up or an NDOG. So I'll just, because we are on the daily chart, I'll mark it as a new day opening gap. But right. Let me just delete that so that this chart can be a little bit cleaner. Don't want to overload you with information. We also have that NDOG. I think I should delete this, but it's a very important level. I do not want to delete it. So what I'll do, I'll just make it a little bit clearer. You can see where levels are overlapping, that becomes a very important support level in quotes. Let me see if it will be visible. So that's an NDOG between Monday and Tuesday. So you can see that we have overlapping levels on that zone. We have an NOG and an NDOG. So that becomes a very important level for retest and maybe support in quotes. So what I actually want to see, you remember how I've been telling you last year, I usually like to sit Monday out unless I have a pending setup. So in this case, I didn't have a pending setup. So what I will do is I will wait for Monday to play out, because it gives me the roadmap of how price wants to trade throughout the week and so forth. And what I basically want to see today on Monday is a retracement leg. So what I'm looking at is this one. So this is an expansion leg, correct? So where is the 0.5 level? The 0.5 level is here, which becomes the equilibrium of that discount leg. So I will mark it out as the 0.5 level. Then let me just take out the gun box, which was measuring the. So that is my 0.5 level, and anytime I want to trade higher, I need to see price come back to equilibrium or probably just below it into the discount. So, and then after we enter the discount, now I can look for a run higher. And then you will notice that inside the discount, we have very interesting levels. To start with, we have these very interesting sell side liquidities, which I will show you in the 4-hour chart. They are what we call trend and liquidity, and I would really like to see that get swept and maybe retest is NWOG and the NDOC, and then price can rally higher. And as price does that, I will now be looking for entries as soon as we reach this. So these are basically my points of interest. I want to see price sweep these lows, this smooth lows, which are trend and liquidity. I will draw the trend and liquidity on a 4-hour chart, not a 1-hour chart, and I will show you. But let's just finish what we are doing on the daily chart, and then we can go to that. So on the daily chart, I want you to notice something else that I was observing to know if we are going to be bullish or bearish. So you can see that we had this gap between Thursday and Friday, 12th December. So we opened with a really big gap on US 100 NASDAQ, and I have been observing that level. So even when we had the bearish signal on US 100. I was observing how price wicked into it and then moved away. So if I had seen the same thing on US 500, I would have traded that week. But as I have said, US 100 was bearish on that week and 500 was still bullish. So I have been observing this level. This is an end dog. This is the new day opening up. The reason I like highlighting this because these are imbalances and price among the things that price likes to do is rebalance imbalances and move away from them, or maybe yes, rebalance imbalances. So that is the important part here. So you can see that on Friday 9th January, so this is last Friday, price came into the end dog and it closed above the 50%. So what does that tell us? Price is now willing to continue to the upside. So that paired with the weekly change in state of delivery becomes more of a confluence. And I also want to show you that we closed above. So apart from that, there is the concept of premium and discount weeks, which I have been mentioning a lot. And this one was a premium week. And as soon as price closes above its 50%, I am almost 100% sure that price is now, those are bullish signals, because if we were to trade lower, I would have not liked to see price close above the 50% of a premium week and vice versa for a discount week. So this is a discount week. So anytime when price will come to these levels, I will be observing how, which will probably not this week, but I'm just giving you an example of a discount week. So this is a discount week, and anytime price will come to this level, I will be observing how it reacts to this level. If it closes below the 50%, then we want to continue and maybe rebalance this and maybe these levels. But that is how premium and discount weeks work, and I will be talking more about them. Maybe I'll do a video about them. I'll, I'll think about it. So yes, so that is the daily chart on what, on US 500. I should also mention that we have this daily change in state of delivery between Thursday's candle and Friday's candle. So that is another daily change in state of delivery. So you can see that I'm aligning my confluences. So we have the same thing right here. That is a daily change in state of delivery. And we have broken out of this retracement leg, this retracement leg. So we are getting another retracement, and I will look to trade price as it gets out of that. So I should, now I want to go to the 4-hour chart, and remember I'm not trading on one day, just looking to see how price reacts to that. So now I want to show you the trend and liquidity that I would really like, ideally, I would really like to see it get swept. Let's do it here. So yes, you can see that we have this, and then we have all this. This is very smooth. These are very smooth, not smooth. These are very what can I call them? This is sell side liquidity in the form of a trend line, probably for those who trade retail. So I would like to see that getting swept before we proceed to the upside, and to return my gun box to know if there is a probability of that being swept. You can see that they are lying very close to the discount, to the equilibrium, which, and then we have this one line just below the equilibrium, so it is in the premium side of the discount, which is a very important level. And we also have a fair value gap line just below the equilibrium. So I would like to see these levels being retested by price. So that will probably happen today on Monday, and I would like to see price do that and maybe close back above the 50% of this range. So this is my displacement leg, I want to see that retracement reach into these levels and then probably trade higher. So I would actually not like to see a full body candle. I want to see a wick which will sweep this sell side liquidity and all that, and maybe rebalance this fair value gap. So let me delete that. I like to keep my chart clean. So instead of labeling it as a trend line, I will do this and label it as liquidity. So same thing on US 100. And this is probably where we'll start getting SMT divergences as price sweeps this, because price will probably sweep that liquidity on one asset and it will leave it on the other asset, thus forming the SMT divergence. So yes, that is what I want to see. I want to see price sweep these lows. So there is this low, and then this low. We should at least sweep, especially this one. We should sweep it. This can be left open, but let's see how price unfolds. And remember, I'm not trading on Monday. I will say that again. I'm not trading today. So today I will be observing how price reacts to the levels that I've drawn right here. If you go down to the 1 hour chart, you will see what I'm talking about even better. You can see how this clean sell side liquidity. I want to see it swept before we proceed to the upside. Maybe reach here. We can wick into these levels, that is the 68, 64. Then probably do the same on US 100. Let's just sweep this liquidity, this low, and then this low, and then I would like now to see these are the levels between 25,400, 25,350 to 25,468. So that is a very good level to enter longs because it will be in a discount of this range from this low to this high, and then after that I will be targeting this relative equal highs and higher. And on the same 2 hours, no. Yes, so you can see it even clearly, even it's more clearer on a 1 hour chart, the sell side liquidity that I'm talking about, which is in form of a trend line. So for people trading retail, they want it to come and bounce off from here, but for me, I want it to reach for the stops below it, and then we can trade higher. So that's it for the technical analysis. I will share the daily outlook on my channel as from tomorrow. So today I will be observing that, and then from tomorrow I will be actively looking for trades. You can see how clean these lows are. I really want to see them get swept, and then now I can start looking for setups. Even on the 4 hour chart, they are very clean, very tempting. If I was a market maker, I would sweep these lows and then trade higher. So other than that, maybe we should take a quick look at what we have on Forex Factory. So what we have on the fundamental side of the markets. So today there are no high impact news. Tomorrow we have high impact news at 4:30. As usual, I only trade after the news. And then on Wednesday we have CPI, PPI. Yes, no. CPI is on Tuesday 4:30. As usual, I trade after. And then on Wednesday we have core PPI, high impact still 4:30. Then October data is also being released on Wednesday, so that is also a high impact news. Expect a lot of volatility, and I will be trading the New York session. Thursday, we also have unemployment claims, so I'll still be trading that, but only after the news, because remember, as I always say, news is chaos or manipulation. So mostly what I like to do is sit out for the first 15 minutes, and then After the news has done what it has done, I usually get in after, and in most cases, the news do not invalidate my setups. Actually, in most cases, they validate the setup because price will mostly weak into the levels, my points of interest, and then now as price leaves that zone, I look for a change in state, a market structure shift, and so forth and so forth, and I trade to the direction that I had in my daily bias without depending on the news release. So that is very important. So that's it for NASDAQ and SP500. If you are interested in the same analysis on gold, silver, you can look for the other video. It's still in this channel, or maybe I'll put a link to this. So the same technical analysis on XAU USD, XAG USD. And yes, so thank you for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, kindly give me your subscription and let's get this money.